The maturities process is a key one for any insurer, as it represents the culmination of a long-term contract between the organisation and the customer. As the customer has paid their premiums, so the insurer must pay the maturity value in as easy and as timely a way as possible. When this is done, 3 goals are met. Treating customers fairly obligations are fulfilled. If managed correctly, the opportunity exists for reinvestment of funds, and a good service experience means good word-of-mouth publicity. This demonstration shows one way of fulfilling this process in as effective a way as possible, reducing costs, spreading knowledge, and making the process visible. The way that we make the process manageable is via a dashboard, which shows us in real time the status of all the work within the process. We'll now take a look at a single case and follow that through. Firstly, production of maturity forms is often automated, but for many organisations there's a significant tranche of policies where maturity values need to be derived manually. This might be due to acquisition, alteration, or different system platforms. By building a coach, as we've done here, for the most common types of exception, we can take the knowledge out of the heads of a few people so that anyone can derive the values, as standard calculations can be put into the coach. It also moves away from building and maintaining lots of spreadsheets so that there's less risk of transposing data incorrectly. So we'll complete an example here to run through the whole process. We're now at the end of the process and we will select finishing of the item. We can see from the dashboard now that the status of the case has changed to waiting for maturity forms. If we take a quick look at the maturity form itself, now this form can be issued either to the agent or direct to the customer. The advantage of going via the agent, if there is one, is that there is the possibility of discussing the reinvestment of funds if that's the most appropriate advice. The downside of this is that it may delay the return of the maturity forms, so the forms must be issued in good time to allow the agent to meet the customer, typically between 1 and 3 months in advance of the maturity date. Whether the form is issued automatically or manually, there will be some kind of flag on the form to identify it automatically on its return. Here we've used a barcode. Once we've received the completed maturity form and the documents that we've requested, we'll scan the case in, either automatically or manually, so that a work item is created for a claims handler to assess. We can now see from the dashboard that the status of the case has changed to Analyse Claim. If we have a look at this claim, the claims handler here is going to check that all the requirements have been received. If they've not, they'll contact the customer to obtain them via the speediest method available. This might be via the agent, ringing the customer direct, or as a last resort by post. There can also be an automated reminder system until a certain date is reached, when more proactive and direct contact is required to get the outstanding information, which can be activated by selecting Request Additional Information. Here we will select Set Up Payment, which will then populate the payment system with the information from the claim form captured within the coach. Again, we can see on the dashboard that the status of the work has now changed to Waiting Authorization. Some cases will require manual authorization, and this is one of the biggest potential areas for savings. As senior staff are costly, and authorization does not encourage the claims handler to take extra care in getting the case right every time. The aim is to reduce the amount of authorization required by setting up an accreditation system for claims handlers. This would mean that after achieving a threshold of, say, 100 cases set up correctly, the claim would automatically be authorized, and after that, one case in, say, 20 would be subject to a random check after authorization to ensure that the work had been done correctly and to manage the risk of fraud. At this stage, the authorizer can either authorize the case or reject it with reasons. The coach here links into the existing payment system to take the selected action. In terms of managing the work, the dashboard will show at each stage what work is in the system, what stage it is at, and which cases are on track, at risk, or overdue against the agreed service level agreements. It also shows the status of the whole end-to-end maturity process, so that it's possible to see how many maturity cases have met their payment ASLs within, say, 30 days. It's possible to drill down as well, so that you can see which cases are at risk or overdue, so that those particular cases can be looked at in more detail to speed the process up. Also, the proportion of cases requiring costly manual authorisation can be seen so that a review of authorisation limits can be done. We've automated the end-to-end process that works with your existing technology and gives you a single end-to-end view of how your process is running.